I think obviously now what's important is to look at this from each of the regions. And I'd like to start, if I can, with the obvious first region, which is Washington, D.C. And as always, we always defer and are in awe of Juhi Naithani from bGlobal. Juhi, can you tell us a little bit about the view from D.C.?
Absolutely, Mark. Thank you again so much for having me as part of the panel today. Very nice to meet all of you. Good morning, good afternoon. So Washington, D.C., it's the city that changes the world, as we call it, and that's what makes it unique. So it has a unique composition in the sense that Washington, D.C. is not only a business and tech hub in general, it is also a political center. And that is what makes this region like no other. And the interesting thing to know is that the effects go beyond just Washington, D.C. So really, when we look at D.C., we should be looking at the Washington, D.C. metro area. And often this is referred to in the United States as the DMV. And that is because it's District, Maryland, and Virginia. So I'm located in the DMV, and I'm very familiar with this region and what it has to offer companies that are looking to expand to the United States. So if you look at the DMV, I see it as a tech hub, a life sciences hub, also an aerospace hub, and a defense hub, and then maybe emerging technology in general. And the reason for these industries to be prevalent in the DMV is because of the presence of the government. So the federal government in the United States is the largest customer in the world. So a lot of that spending that Mindy was talking about is actually being incurred by the government itself. And what that leads to is a very strong government contracting ecosystem in the DMV. So there are a number of companies here that actually provide goods and services to the US government. And yes, you could provide this from anywhere in the world, but being located in the DMV has certain distinct advantages. You have access to not only your customer, which could be the federal government, but also regulatory authorities, which is extremely important, especially in case of life sciences. And because it is already a government contracting hub, it's an excellent opportunities for companies, especially those that are looking to do business with the government, to become part of this ecosystem, establish partnerships, get subcontracting opportunities, and build relationships with those customers. Coming specifically to life sciences, and Mindy, you gave an excellent overview there. And I'll talk a little bit about the tech hubs that you mentioned, which are being administered by the EDA, as you said. When we look at life sciences, the title of this program is Beyond Boston. Everybody thinks Boston. But really, one of the tech hubs designated by the federal government is Baltimore, which is in Maryland. And Maryland already is home to a number of life sciences companies that are doing all kinds of things, from clinical research to pharma to APIs. Speaking of APIs, if you go further south in Virginia, that is yet another tech hub for advanced pharma manufacturing. Why is this? Because, as Mindy said, and the increase in spending that you were talking about, Mindy, is because there's a national security interest. So the US government wants to bring back essential medicines, bring back, national security related technologies, and wait for it, manufacturing into the United States, which means that they are actually putting a lot of that investment into, someone mentioned the CHIPS Act, or essential materials for manufacturing, as well as essential drugs for manufacturing closer in the United States. Everybody's learned from the COVID example. So just to give you an idea of the tech hub, what does a tech hub designation do to a region? It kind of prioritizes that region as one that is a hub for certain technology that it's been designated for, whether it's advanced manufacturing or predictive medicine like Baltimore, or semiconductors that you have in Utah, for example, or North Carolina. And then what that means is that in phase 2, 5 to 10 grants are going to be administered in these regions for funding 3 to 8 projects at $40 to $70 million each. So that's a lot of money that's going to be coming to these regions. But the question for companies that are on the screen today is, where should we be, right? So that's where it gets a little bit more complicated, because it's not just about, oh, there's funding here, so I should run to this particular tech hub. It's, you want the ecosystem that's best suited to your needs.